Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Kelsey with Teaching Online with Kelsey. So if this is your first time seeing me, please make sure it's not the last time by hitting that red subscription button and the bell down below so that you're notified of new videos on my channel every week. And if by the end of this video you still have more questions or other suggestions of videos that I should talk about for the future, please leave a comment down below. I love hearing your suggestions. I love having healthy discussions with all of you, and I want to be able to serve this community that you have joined with me as best as I possibly can. So, as you may have guessed by the title of this video, I am still diving into the Outschool side of things once again, and there have been several of you in the comments that have reached out to me to elaborate more about Outschool Flex classes and what exactly that looks like. And for me, I've actually taught on Outschool since 2020, which also means I've been offering Flex classes since 2020 as well. And what I'm actually going to do for this video is sort of like a do's and don'ts of Outschool Flex classes. There have been many of you that are not 100% sure like how Outschool Flex classes work or settings or what would be best practices, especially if you had just joined the platform on Outschool in 2023. So at the time I'm filming this, what I'm sharing with you right now is the information that I only know of as of 2023. So what is a Flex class on Outschool? And I'm just going to read on my computer here from the Outschool website, what is a Flex class? So from the Outschool website, it says, while the vast majority of Outschool classes features scheduled live meetings using our video classroom, we also offer the option to create flexible schedule, Flex classes, which don't rely on meetings. In a Flex class format, teachers conduct the class by posting in the Outschool classroom and engaging with learners asynchronously. Flex classes run for a minimum of 4 weeks. So what that would essentially mean is for Flex classes, teachers create lesson videos that they then post on the classroom page for learners to watch the lesson anytime that fits their schedule best. So if you are just recently a brand new Outschool teacher and you are thinking, this sounds really interesting, how can I go ahead and start offering Flex classes on Outschool? So per the Outschool blog that I see about Flex classes, it says, who can teach a Flex class? In order to be eligible to teach a Flex class, a teacher must have already taught at least one live class with a positive rating. You do have to have a capacity to still want to teach live classes, and then knowing that these parents love what you have to offer, essentially. But it's just one class and 5 or possibly 4-star rating. Anything 4 and above, and you pretty much have the approval to start offering Flex classes on Outschool. For the sake of this video, we're just going over the do's and don'ts of Outschool Flex classes. I have done Flex class videos in the past on how to format it and talked a little more in depth. That was a while back in like 2021. You're more than welcome. I'll leave it somewhere in the cards for you to watch. I did like a 2-parter. It ended up being a 2-parter. So, but for someone who has been offering Flex classes since 2020, there has been a lot that I've learned along the way on what works for Flex classes and what does not work for Flex classes. It's several things that I've written down on here, so I hope you're ready. You may have to write this down as well. Number 1, do not assume that Flex classes are going to be a way for you to earn complete passive income. And don't assume for the parents' end that it's going to be completely self-paced either. I know it can be easily assumed because there's no live meetings. The teachers record the videos and they post it in the classroom, and the learners can watch the video whenever they want. It can feel like, oh, this is passive income. I don't really have to do anything. But as Outschool teachers, we are expected to still interact with families, whether we are teaching in live classes or our Flex classes. So there are going to be learners or parents that will reach out to you during your flex class session if they have questions, or because it's, at least in the older format of Outschool classes, teachers were encouraged to offer up encouragement for learners to kind of communicate with each other, to communicate with the teacher. I don't know if that's not necessarily a requirement as much anymore, since there was a lot of feedback from families like, I'm not really sure, if my child feels comfortable like interacting. We still want to try to make Outschool Flex classes as interactive as possible, but maybe families sign up for Flex classes because they may not want to interact as much. So it's more of an encouragement and not a forcing sort of thing. But you want to also just be ready whenever a parent does send a message out and say, hey, this link for the video doesn't work. Or, my child had a question about this subject, like whatever is related to your video. You still have to respond as a teacher. You still have to answer their question. You still need to help them out. You still need to be available to help those families out that do reach out and that they do want to interact with you and know more from you. Another thing, as I had mentioned, that it's not entirely self-paced. So sure, if I post a video in my class on Monday, but families are not able to watch the video until Thursday, that's fine. However, there is a limited amount of time that families can access the material in that flex class once the flex class is over. I believe it's about 30 days after the class has finished that parents can still access the materials until they're no longer able to access it. Now, there was an instance where I had a family reach out to me 6 months after they had taken a flex class from me, asking if they could have an extension of the materials. There was an incident that came up where there was like a lot of family emergencies, just could not get to the materials at the time that the flex class was offering, and was asking for an extension. Now, obviously, that is a very, very, very special circumstance. And it would be up to you as the teacher to decide if you want to provide that extension to families, or just have that hard boundary of like, I'm really sorry this happened to you. Unfortunately, you would have to sign up for the class again if you want access to the materials. Obviously, I can't tell you which one is better or not. For me, I did give out that extension to the family just because, sometimes for us teachers, we have to give grace to families when really, really hard times happen. So I gave extension to that family, and obviously it's up to you as the teacher if you want to do the same as well, because I know we're not only just teachers, but we're also like customer service workers. When we're Outschool teachers, we're trying to satisfy the customer, the parent in this instance. Number 2, do not offer your flex classes every week. Now, this has probably been my biggest mistake, and I literally made this mistake for like over a year before I realized this was just a huge no-no. I know it can be super easy to think,
oh, well, I don't have to really teach per se. I can just offer my classes every week. And then families, maybe more families will just keep signing up every week and I can earn more money.
No, that was my mindset of like, oh, well, I can reach out to as many learners as possible if I just offer my flex classes every week. And I mean like every single one of my flex classes every week. And I have about 10 flex classes so far. So could you actually imagine if I actually had like all these students come in and sign up for my classes, all 10 flex classes in that 1 week, and like all of them just decided we're going to interact with the teacher. You're going to do a lot of messaging, and when we communicate with parents and teachers, that can take a lot of time. That is way too much for your sanity. Not only that, don't also put a really, really high student limit in your flex classes as well. Because once again, what if all 12 or 15 learners sign up for that class? Like, for flex classes, it's not a real possibility, but you have to imagine like how much of workload that can be on your end as the teacher. When we're doing this whole online teacher thing, we want to work smarter, not harder. And to me, if all 15 learners are going to interact in your class and you have to respond to all of those messages, that's working a lot harder, to me at least. What should we do instead? So what I have discovered is you need to create scarcity for your flex classes. This kind of goes in general for any of your flex classes. It can be really, really tempting starting out to offer, any class format 4 or 5 times a day. It can be so easy. And that's sort of what happened when my solar system class, which is not a flex class, but it was a one-time class, but I offered it like multiple times a day for like 6 months. That leads to burnout real fast. However, if you create scarcity where you offer, your flex classes once a month. So if I have 10, I offer 2 certain flex classes one week, another set of 2 flex classes the next week. And it's just the same pattern every month. Not only that, but instead of saying, unlimited students can sign up, or, as many students as possible for Outschool, like only put in like 6, 7, maybe 8 students can only sign up. Because if there does come a time that there's a lot of students who sign up and you only have 6 slots for that flex class and 3 kids sign up, Outschool is going to be like, hey, this class is hot. You need, it shows on the parents, and you need to sign up for this because like there's only like 2 spots left. You should sign up. Like it's a marketing tactic to where you may even have a fully booked flex class. So create scarcity will attract families to be like, oh, we can only either sign up this month or we have to wait until next month. So we probably need to decide when we're going to sign up, and once that class starts, if a parent's like, oh no, I know I'm really late, I'm so sorry, is there a way like you can create another section? You can just kindly say, I'm really sorry, due to my scheduling, I am only able to offer this class once a month. So I'm really sorry you missed this deadline. I really hope you can join me in the next month. So sometimes that's hard, and sometimes the parent's like, well, I guess I'll just look for another teacher. But at the same time, you also have to know your worth as a teacher too. Number 3, and this is a brand new opportunity that Outschool has rolled out for 2023, and it's an option for paying weekly for any multi-day, ongoing, or flex classes. So don't have only the option that families had to pay their money up front for the flex class. So many times, families turn away from flex classes because it's like, why do I have to pay $50 for something that, to be honest, I'm only just gonna maybe enjoy 1 week of? And for a lot of families, they may only be able to do flex class opportunities, but don't have that upfront fee in that moment. So Outschool has given families options to do weekly payments for their flex classes. So when you go and you're creating your flex class or you're editing your current classes, when you go down to the bottom of the screen, you'll be able to see options of whether you want your families to pay up front or if you want families to have the weekly pay option. Turn on the little toggle that has the weekly pay option on there. It's going to encourage more families to sign up for that class because let's say you offer a $50 flex class, like that's the upfront fee. Now, $50 up front for a class, that's a lot of money. But if it's a class that spans out for 5 weeks, that's only $10 a week. So $10 a week is a little more feasible for families as opposed to $50 up front. Now, this also means it's a similar payout format in terms of ongoing classes. So once that class starts, it's going to take about 8 to 14 business days for you to see that money per learner. And it will be paid weekly, so it's not as much as what you would get up front. However, what's going to attract more families to take your classes is that you are open to more payment options for families, and that you're willing to work with families. You understand the family situation. Like, it's you're going to get more parents in the long run when you as the teacher are more understanding, rather than just being so strict and cut dry and this is what you are. Not to say you shouldn't have boundaries by any means. Obviously, that's completely different. Just kind of have an understanding where families come from, that maybe $50 up front is not feasible. Number 4, do not only offer flex classes. I know it can be easy to just teach one live flex class, have your 5 stars, and go, okay, now all I'm going to offer is flex classes, and that's it. Now, let's say the only exception that I would make for, only offering flex classes is if you get to a point in your life that you are you physically or mentally, whatever your reason, you're just not able to offer classes anymore. There was a season in my life that I was not really readily available to teach live classes. I had to kind of step away from live teaching for a little bit and kind of focus on a lot of stuff like buying and selling a house, and then just personal things that happened in my family, personal things that happened in my health, that it was just not viable for me to teach live classes anymore. Although if you have the availability and you're like,
yeah, I can teach a live class, I just don't really want to.
We'll do that. All right. This is where, when you offer flex classes, this is an opportunity for you to funnel your flex class families to see that you have more stuff to offer than just the flex classes. So meaning you can funnel your families for one-on-one tutoring, or if you have one-on-one lessons that is sort of related to the flex class that you have to offer, or you can funnel them into an ongoing group. Like I said, it could be related to the flex class that you have to offer, or it couldn't. Because when you think about it, for your one-on-one lessons or your ongoing groups, for Outschool, that is going to be your consistent income. Because that is when families are paying weekly, and you get paid weekly as well, depending on how many learners you have in your class. In the world of online teaching, sometimes we don't know, where our income's going to come from, and if we're going to have a huge amount of income coming through, or if it's going to be not so much income. But your one-on-one tutoring and your ongoing groups or classes on Outschool is what's going to guarantee you consistent income where you see learners each week. So work smarter, not harder, in terms of, being a teacher that wants to do more than just offer flex classes, if you're able to, of course. Number 5, please do not forget to share in the class description that this is a flex class. Now, I know I've done several videos, like TikToks and Reels and Shorts.
Do you understand?
Well, I'll be honest, I don't really understand. Oh my God. I get it.
It's amazing how many parents actually reach out to me about my flex classes and asking, what time does this class start? I make it clear in my class description. It's clear on the Outschool website, flexible scheduling, no live meetings. I make it a point, it's all there. But I guess for some reason, for some parents, they just do not see it at all. And something goes awry when they think they signed their kid up for a class that is meeting live. So, all's this to say, You know, I don't know if Outschool will ever reframe the word flex class to give out more clarity to parents, like it doesn't meet live. There's no live meetings, it's asynchronous. Like, I don't know how much clearer they could do, and I don't know, you know, because I mean, you'll see, you know, on my post, this is a asynchronous class or a flex class. We do not meet live. Like, I make that clear. And for some classes, I say, you know, if you would like a live option, please reach out to me and we can figure out times that I can offer, you know, this live class instead. Like, and it flip-flops with the live options that I have, where I say, like, if you need a flex option, you know, or if any of the times that are not available, please consider signing up for the flex option. Anyways, what you can do, whether there is a parent that does reach out to you and says, hey, what time does this class meet? You know, just make sure to leave a friendly post like before the class starts and say, hey, just a friendly reminder, this class does not meet live. There will be pre-recorded lesson videos that will come up on the classroom page each week, so please be on the lookout for that. And a reminder that you can watch these videos at any time while the class is happening. So just something along those lines of just reminding the parents that we're not meeting live. And will the saga of
When does this class start?
on flex classes, will it end? You know, you know, I guess we'll see. You'll never know, I guess. We'll never know. Number 6, and this was interesting because in this article that it was updated recently on Outschool, it said to not replicate your multi-day or ongoing class to flex classes, which I find really interesting because a lot of times for teachers, Outschool teachers, to create flex classes, they get inspiration from the live classes that they have taught, because they realize they may not be able to reach a lot of students because the time frames that these teachers are teaching live classes may not be suitable for families in other time zones, you know, or it doesn't fit the teacher's schedule. Like, there may be some teachers, they may not be able to teach at 11 o'clock at night their time so that your child can take an 11 a.m. class in their time zone. So they get a lot of inspiration from their live classes to create flex classes. Now, am I saying you shouldn't create flex classes based on what you've taught in your live classes? Not necessarily. I think what Outschool is trying to say for this updated article about flex classes is just do not, like, you know, replicate, copy verbatim what you teach like in your live classes to your flex classes. When you think about it though, for each different format of classes that you can offer on Outschool, it has to be formatted differently. For one-time classes, like, you have to offer your materials all at once. But for multi-day classes, it has to be spread out depending on how many days you want the multi-day class to go. So it is going to be different formats regardless. What I would just recommend is you should still be inspired by the classes that you teach live in creating a flex class. I would just be considerate of maybe having different titles. I would consider doing different thumbnails, and obviously it's going to be a different class structure because as of 2023 on Outschool, flex classes have to be a minimum of 4 weeks. So you have to design your classes that you already teach into a span of 4 weeks. So you already have to reformat it anyways. Just don't copy and paste what you've already have in a previous class. It seems like, from my understanding at least. Number 7 and final remark of do and don't that I'm going to share with you all is please don't forget to like actually post in your classrooms. There was at one point, I was very, very surprised that a lot of parents were like sharing their complaints about signing their kids up for a flex class and the teacher like not sharing anything on the classroom. Like, we as Outschool teachers for Flex classes, we are expected to post on the classroom and still like do stuff on there. It kind of goes back to the first point of like, it's not completely passive income that you can earn offering Flex classes. Like, you still have to post. Now, to work smarter rather than harder, Outschool does have a scheduling feature for posts that you can use, so that way if your classroom stuff does come out at a certain time, they can see, that, you want this video to come out on this day at this time, and Outschool will do that for you. So you work smarter in that you don't have to always like be like, oh shoot, I need to post this video. You can schedule it out ahead of time. And to further upon that, to work smarter rather than harder, I believe you should create a document where you have posts that you're going to share for each day or each week for your classes, for your Flex classes, and that you can copy and paste it to the Outschool, to your Outschool classroom and schedule it out whenever it's appropriate to do so. And obviously if it requires like a Nearpod link, obviously you would need to change that link to to that specific class. You would have to do those minor edits, to be fair. But I mean, think about it. You wouldn't have to sit at the computer for your Outschool Flex class all day and go, what should I write about this post? When you already have the templates that you have saved ready to go, then you just copy and paste, and then you can just schedule it out and it'll go out on that day. This is probably where a lot of people get the assumption that it's completely passive, and it's just working smarter rather than harder. Obviously, we still have to be interactive. We still have to interact with students that want to interact with us. So I hope these do's and don'ts were helpful for you. Maybe you're a brand new Outschool teacher, or maybe you were an all-school teacher and you've also experimented with Outschool as well, and you're thinking, what does this look like? And maybe this is something I could invest in, which I think it's something that you should try out. I definitely recommend, just seeing how Flex classes do for you. And, I would just do one. I wouldn't try to schedule out trying to create like 10 classes, all at once, because it does take a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort to create these classes. So, but just see how it goes for you and see if these tips that I have shared with you are beneficial for you. And like I said, if you got any other questions or any other suggestions, please leave a comment down below. Like I said, I love to have these discussions with you all. And thank you so much for tuning in. I will see you next time.